Thank you very much. Okay, the first item on the agenda today is the review of background check fees.
Okay. So,
I thought I offended somebody there.
I know.
Julia, is Susan presenting this?
Background checks for,
I am.
Oh, you are?
Oh,
Yeah,
sorry.
I'm
Kim is.
discussing it
Okay.
with them. They have all the material.
Yep, we
but
have everything here.
with the discussion of the mobile vendors going from the clerks across the street, the question came up and council asked the mayor's office to have a analysis done, and that's on page 2. Keith Cordry just simply asked a couple of questions to the police department and to our office to see how much time was involved in issuing a license. So you can see, he came up with a cost of $130 average. Some are quick and easy, some are very involved. We had a license this year, T.L. Morris had 10 additional agents. So for the $25 fee was still in effect then, we had 10 background checks, 11 counting him, done by the police department. And, you know, usually there's 2 or 3 per mobile vendor, but
Is there a distinction between mobile vendor and door-to-door?
yes,
Now, am I correct in assuming that there is a return on investment from the vendors, because obviously they pay taxes, correct?
yes, they get a
The
trader's
door-to-door,
license.
door-to-door necessarily, there is probably no return on investment, I would assume. Right.
It could be. We always send them to the clerk of the circuit court's
Yeah.
office to check and see if they require, depending on what they're doing, you know, whether they'll require a county, city trader's license. And if so, then they'll pay for a business license, you know, prepaid tax, and then next year when they get billed based upon, I guess, their inventory.
I think the only comment that I have and feel strongly about is that if you need 10 agents and you're paying, you know, and we're doing 10 separate background checks, there should be some, maybe it'll be a sliding scale or something, but, and someone else is paying the same price for one background check, an owner-operator,
Yeah.
for instance, that doesn't seem fair.
To the city or to, or
To
or
both.
to the,
To the,
right.
to the other vendors
agree.
and to the, what does anybody else think?
Am I misunderstanding something? So if I came with 10 background checks in one transaction, I would pay one transaction fee?
That's how the code's written. It's just what, it is an application fee, the one application, and we have additional agents. So if there's 10 people who work for you at the hot dog stand or door-to-door even, they all get background checks as well as you. That's how it is, just,
But we only charge
Always been.
$25.
now it's 50.
Now it's 50, but
But
still,
But you're
That
still,
still
if
doesn't
you're doing
cover.
10, that's,
Right.
you know, even just with what the police have to do as far as the background check, that's $400 that it costs the city.
right. I'm ignoring the administrative cost, just for a minute. I'm just looking at the background
actual
cost.
fee, because
The
that's what I
actual
was
fee,
thinking,
because you do,
The amount of time,
right,
that doesn't make any sense, because
I think so.
it's a situation where the actual labor involved is multiplied by 10, but then does it become too much of a disincentive if you charge per check?
Well, that's what I was saying. I'm not necessarily saying we make the leap to, but it could.
What I would suggest is if we're if we have now the $50 fee for the application fee, and then what I would suggest is then if you have, however many people that are gonna be employed there, that we do at least the cost of the background check. So if there's 5 people, it's $40 per background check, because that's what it's costing us as far as tying up a police officer to do a background check. At least cover the cost of the background check. Because because you're processing one application, and then you're forwarding the names on to the police department, who is actually, in that case, doing most of the work, and, you're-
Correct.
So
Yes,
I would suggest that
or
add in
something,
there at least,
some
the
fee.
cost of the background check to cover that cost.
That makes sense. I mean,
So-
having one administrative fee, and then
And then it's
it's per
And
And
agent.
then additional.
however many agents, so if you have 2 people,
That makes
and that's an additional $80 for the background check.
You okay with that?
That's what I said,
Is that,
charge each additional one.
Mayor, any thoughts?
That makes sense to me.
Okay. I think that's, when you look at the numbers, I mean, I was thinking we were gonna look at like, it may cost us $90, something like that.
Yes, yes.
But when you take the per agent thing, which was a very good piece of the dialogue that helped me anyway, I mean, that's a lot of money.
yeah,
10 agents, $400. Do we have sort of a consensus to maybe adjust this?
Yes.
Okay,
Okay, I'll work with legal to,
please work with legal, yeah, and
All
just
right.
make sure we're okay.
okay.
But I think that's one administrative charge and then per agent, whatever it is, $40. Okay. That was good. Okay. The next item on the agenda is to modify ordinance 10.20 parking district to match the central business district boundary. Mrs. Pop, how are you? Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How are you?
Good. Wanted to introduce Ann Roan to you all. I'm not sure if you've all had a chance to meet her yet. Ann is our city planner.
I
She
met
started.
Ann the other day at the planning commission
Planning
meeting.
Commission.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
So now that we have a city planner on staff, you may see us a little bit more while we're making some recommendations to change some zoning issues or code issues. This is one of those. So we've been working with a variety of projects and looking at different things in the code, and in reviewing Chapter 1020 parking districts and looking at the intent of that district, we feel like the intent was to encompass downtown Salisbury, and that code describes parking authorities, so special assessment districts that can be used as a mechanism for the city to finance different parking improvements downtown. The current code and maps only have a part of the central business district included in the parking district. But really, from looking at the definition of the central business district, which is to maintain and strengthen the role of the downtown, we feel like the entire central business district should be included in this parking district. The portion of the central business district that's not included is on the south side of the river. So, but between Carroll Street and the river, and then a little bit of an area south of Carroll Street. So we've included both maps in your package so you can see what the parking district looks like now and what we're recommending as far as changing no other boundaries but including all of the central business district. So we feel like that's the intent of this parking district, and we wanted to bring it forward for discussion purposes to make that change.
The original wording, let me get it back here. The area was defined to provide a mechanism for, now this comes, I assume, from the original reason for the code.
Yes,
Okay.
that's straight out of
The
the
area
code.
was defined to provide a mechanism for financing the cost of acquisition and development of off-street parking facilities located in the area.
Yes, that's correct.
That being said, I don't know that we've, other than revenue collected from parking, and this gets kind of off topic but interesting. You know, I don't think we've ever used the special taxing authority of the CCDC or the parking district. However, it's also what's keeping us from extending the Rise Zone into downtown, because you can't have two overlay, special districts like that have tax implications. So the Rise Zone has to stay out of downtown because of the parking district. But it's still the area that suspends parking requirements for development because we provide public parking infrastructure, whether it's surface lots on street or metered on street or parking garage. So that's, it's still a relevant district in that sense, even though the special taxing authority isn't used or hasn't been used. And I guess, for history's sake, it might have been 8 months ago that we extended the boundaries to include the rest of the other side of the Riverfront Redevelopment District along Fitzwater Street.
Thoughts?
I'm okay with it.
You're okay? You're okay? Okay, I think we have consensus. Thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We have Mary Ashanti here. Mary, would you like to make your comment publicly at the podium? Mary had a comment about the background checks, which is relevant to our discussion.
Always giving honor to God for being here. Mary Ashanti, President, Wycomico County NACP. My comment as I was listening is that every time I have a background check, I pay $45. I see no reason for the city to pay for someone else's background check unless it's your employee. Other than that, everybody pays.
Thank you very much. We agree with that.
Amen.
Yes.
Okay, anything else for the good of the order before we go into closed session? All right. Let me read the announcement, please. At approximately 5:15, it's approximately, definition loosely. Council will entertain a vote to convene into closed session to consider the acquisition of real property for a public purpose and related matters. 2, to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice on a legal matter. And 3, before a contract awarded or bids opened, to discuss a matter directly related to negotiating strategy or the contents of the bid or proposal. If public discussion or disclosure would adversely impact the ability of the public body to participate in competitive bidding or proposal process, in accordance with the Annotated Code of Maryland, 3-305, Sec B 3, 7, and 14. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to enter into closed session.
So
Second.
Mr. Boda made the motion. And Ms. Jackson seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And the chair votes aye. Good. All right, we're back. We have just come out of closed session, and the topics that were discussed, first was to consider the strategy to purchase real property for governmental use. The second was to receive legal advice on a contract dispute, and the third was to discuss a contract for the possible award of property. Okay. If there's no other business, we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.